In this episode...
Suj, is that a man-child over your shoulder?
The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello listeners, welcome back to episode 48 of Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around last man standing. My name is Suj.
And I don't feel like the last man standing. My name is James.
Oh dear. For regular listeners, you'll know that we play a game called Last Man Standing, which we'll talk about a bit later. But for new listeners, the world actually revolves around Fantasy Premier League. Get another midweek game week's finished, and we have 2 days to turn around until game week 29. There's not many game weeks left to go this season, and all I can say is thank God for that, because honest to God, I'm done with the game.
Shut up about you're done with the game.
I feel like I don't care.
Really?
Honestly.
Yeah, listeners, you might want to stop listening now. This is going to be a bit moody, isn't it?
How do you feel?
Like giving up as well.
2 defeats on the bounce for Spurs. I thought 44 points was not bad in any normal given game week. A game week rank of 4.55 million, and I've dropped down to 675k.
Nice.
So I think we should experiment. Is it possible for us to do an FPL podcast without me playing FPL?
No.
I'm sure it is.
No. How
Because
can that work?
I can talk about the players and the matches and the points without any of the heartbreak of crap game weeks.
Yeah, but you have no enthusiasm for it. You just be talking bland.
I would probably be taking a lot of pleasure from other people's pain.
Not that it sounds like you've got any enthusiasm at the moment anyway.
I honestly thought that my team was set up well going into 28 to 31, and I've had 2 red arrows on the bounce. And both game weeks, and this is not me trying to dig into you, mate, but both game weeks I've scored better than you have as well.
Yeah.
And this is painful, man. Now, here's the issue for me, before we get into our individual game week scores. Manchild, the producer, has a team. Manchild, the Marauders. What game week, there's a little quiz for you. What game week was the last game week that Manchild made a transfer?
10.
8 or 9, I can't remember. It's one or the other. 8 or 9. I think it was game week 8. How many points behind me is Manchild, the producer?
About 5.
19 points. So he's averaging less than a point per game week less than me. He hasn't made a transfer in 20 game weeks. He's been aided a little bit in the last few game weeks by blindly having the armband still on Sergio Aguero from back then. But you get to the point where the amount of hours that I've spent, I could have just done what he's done and just left it be. So that's what's really, I suppose, getting to me. It's annoying when you put the time and invest the time into the game and then you don't get the rewards. That's how I feel.
Of course. I'm feeling low about it as well. 29 and then 42 this week. And even worse knowing that had I taken the -8, which for those who might have seen the team I tweeted out, I literally had it set up and changed my mind. And I never said what that -8 was. And if I'd taken that -8, the week would have looked a lot fucking better.
So I'm going to assume one of them might have been Aubameyang.
No.
Oh, okay.
The -8 I was going to take.
And then tell me about your -8 as well.
All right, the 42, great, yeah. I ended up playing with a 5-4-1. I made one transfer, which was Firmino to Jimenez.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people questioned when obviously I tweeted it out, and this isn't chunky chip strategy. This is not planning for 31. You've just removed a 31 player for a non-playing 31. But obviously, yeah, Firmino's injured. The big mistake I made last year was paying way too much attention to the blank. And I looked at these 2 fixtures, Huddersfield and Cardiff, and thought, fuck it, let's have it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't desperate to get Higuain in for Spurs, as was kind of proven. So I just went with that. The only point returns I had were Robertson, saved it from basically being 29 again. So
Robertson did well, but then everyone had him.
Yeah.
Where's the joy in that?
A clean sheet and a booking from David Luiz. I had an assist from Pogba. And that's it, I think.
I think you did have one other
Did I?
return.
Oh, no, I don't
No,
think.
is that it?
That's it. I played 5 at the back.
Ouch.
And it was looking good for Pereira at 2-0 up against Brighton. Johnny was on for 8 points going into injury time at Huddersfield because he was in the bonus points. Even Trippier, Kieran Trippier.
Oh dear.
-1, as you do.
Yeah.
Salah captain blank.
Huh.
So, no, it wasn't great. And I'm even made brave choices leaving Anderson out. Went okay. I left Rashford as second sub, which was a panic when I heard he travelled to Selhurst Park. But my theory was it was most likely to be a 1 point return, and that's why I went down that route. The -8 I was going to take.
Tell me.
Was Higuain in for success.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want to dump Rashford without the knowledge, and I'm pleased that he's still sitting in my squad because I think he'll play at the weekend now. So we're going to dump Higuain to success. Now to do that, I needed to drop Trippier and give me a little bit more money, and I was obviously going to go to Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the pain.
And I had it set. I literally had it press confirm at about 5 o'clock on Tuesday, and I changed my mind. Oh, well, shit happens. But actually, in the scheme of things, when you break it down, I would have been 8 points better off because I would have left Pereira out and obviously played Higuain instead and obviously Alexander-Arnold. So I'd have been 8 points better off, and that's on the back of Alexander-Arnold returning with 3 assists and a clean sheet.
Yeah.
So in retrospect,
did I
do the right thing not doing it? Probably, yeah. The problem
long-term planning, of course.
The problem is I'm now likely to do exactly the same thing for a -4 this weekend.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm going to captain.
Have you bought Trent yet?
No, I haven't done it yet.
I picked him up today.
I'm going to wait on the team news. I've fucked the value at this stage. And I feel better about it this weekend because I'm going to captain Higuain as well.
Sure.
But I'm not doing these hits till I've got all the team news.
I've got 2 free transfers this week, and I stalled on Trent. Trent's the most transferred in player this week, unsurprisingly. I stalled on him last week thinking I'd like to roll my transfer, and my move then was going to be Doherty to Trent, planning for 31. So today I just pulled the trigger on it. And my defence is Luke Shaw, Alonso, Robertson and Trent. So if I don't fancy Liverpool's fixtures, I may even leave Trent on the bench. But it does give me that cover.
You will, because it's going to be Everton, Burnley,
away,
Fulham.
And then I'll be going double Liverpool defence.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had 44. So not too dissimilar. I had Robertson returns. I had Pogba's returns in much the same way. I've stuck with Alonso throughout. So it was nice to pick up 9 points from him. Which hadn't happened for a while. But then Luke Shaw, at one point with the assist and the clean sheet, I was thinking, oh, come on, Luke Shaw, you're in for a good 10-point haul here. Ended up being only 4, which was quite disappointing. I suppose we were holding City for quite a while. I had Fabianski in goal.
Holding.
But...
hanging.
I mean, I was looking at the stats, and it depends how you skin it, right? Half-time, they only had 1 shot on target, apart from the fact they had 81% possession, 11 shots off target, 450 passes and everything else. They only had 1 on target. So I thought, you never know with these games. So that didn't quite obviously work out. But 1-0, based on the amount of shots that City had, actually was a disappointment as a City player owner. I gave Leroy Sané the chance to pay me back.
Did you captain him?
I did. I said, Leroy, you let me down triple captain in game week, whatever the fuck it was. I'm giving you the chance, mate. Get me some returns.
How many minutes did he play?
56. 56.
I really didn't know. Because I went out and watched Spurs, obviously. And to be honest, this is going to be a shit assessment of the game week because I watched Match of the Day blind drunk last night.
56 points. 56 minutes. 2 points from my captain. So all in all,
is that a rage now?
I'm not raging him out, no, because
he's not going to play the weekend, is he? Surely.
I don't think so.
Sterling comes back in, doesn't he? And he just loves Bernardo Silva at the moment, doesn't he? So.
Yeah, so I do need to move somewhere from Sané, and the plan was to move away from him to Brooks or someone cheap, which was going to allow me to upgrade Isaac's success to someone. That I'd need to do for a hit this week if I was going to do it. So I may.
You got 2 frees now.
I've used one. I'm getting rid of.
Oh, of course, Alexander-Arnold. Yeah,
I think it's time because his price will He'll see a couple of rises.
Cool selling Doherty before Cardiff at home, mate.
Yeah, I'm not feeling.
See, that's my one concern that puts me off taking my hit for Alexander-Arnold and Higuain is it means I'm probably going to leave Johnny and Hotter on the bench at home to Cardiff. That's how strong it will look for me this weekend.
And Wolves just lost to Huddersfield, mate.
Yeah, but you can't get away from that. Cardiff look horrendous after these last 2 home games, mate.
Sure, but at the same time, they did have a tidy little run at the back end of January.
And it's gone.
So you don't know with Warnock what these guys are going to do.
Wolves seem incapable of keeping clean sheets in these games. I mean, if you've got Doherty, you've got to play him. I just think that's possibly a transfer you didn't need to make because there's every chance I could get Alexander-Arnold this weekend. I might still go with Johnny over him.
He'll jump in price today. He's 5.3 now.
Does that matter now?
He's 5.4. I'm quite tight on budget. I mean, my squad value is 104.5. Yours?
Oh, I'd have to look. 10.
But you're right.
Nearly 6,
kind
I think.
The frustrating thing is I'm happy with my squad overall. I don't mind having Fabianski in goal. We've got our tough fixture, which was City, out of the way for the next few until my wild card. I've got my defence. Robertson, Alonso, Luke Shaw, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Wan-Bissaka, who is just bench fodder at the moment with his injury. Midfield, Felipe Anderson, Leroy Sané, Mo Salah, Heung-min Son, Paul Pogba, Rashford up front, Josh King, who's been doing okay. I'm not unhappy with my squad. I don't feel like chopping and changing a lot is what I need to do. I don't feel the
and therefore you're going to take a hit.
No, I'm not. I think I'm going to roll. I've made my one transfer and I think I'm going to roll.
You're just going to stay with that?
Yeah, I'm not. Whilst I'm not overly enthused, I don't feel like my team needs major surgery. Like I'm not at that point where I'm like, you know what, I need to roll my wildcard dice. And I don't think it's sensible to do that either because we still don't know what's happening in 32 and 35. So it would be a rage wildcard at this point. So yeah, I'm not doing as well as I want to be, but I don't think the solution is to make any drastic moves.
No, I mean, I've dropped massively last night down to 70k, basically bang on 70k. And you can go, oh, shite, I was at sort of like 30k a few weeks ago. But I'm determined to try and take the positive out of it and go, right, at Christmas I was 200 and something k.
Yeah.
And I had 4 amazing weeks in a row that got me into that position. All right, I'm having a little low at the moment, but I don't feel like you. I don't feel like my squad's in a bad place. I just had a bad couple of weeks and I think it could very quickly reverse. I feel like my team is going to look ridiculously strong this weekend.
I felt really confused waking up to an average of 53. I was like, where's that average come from? Because it's quite a high average, 53 points. And I didn't think that there were that many big name players that really banged. I mean, Sadio Mane, okay. Trent is reasonably owned. He's not what I'd consider highly owned. Robbo is highly owned. Salah didn't return. Aubameyang, but I suppose he's reasonably owned.
Well, the difference between our points and that average essentially is, did you captain Salah?
No, Sané.
Oh, yeah, even worse. So, but if we'd have been on, say, Aguero or Aubameyang, you're basically at it, aren't you? So that's the difference there.
Yeah, and I suppose getting the right captain would have taken us up to the 50s, but then you would have just been on the average and treading water. So I was surprised by the average, I have to say, because I didn't think that many highly owned players, especially in the Tuesday night games.
Look at them Liverpool defenders as well. Anyone who's got double Liverpool's hit 30 plus, even in the worst case scenario. So that's going to bump up massively. People have got Mane as the alternative to Salah, for example. Mm-hmm. So yeah, plenty of like high-owned players. It wasn't like last week where none of the well-owned players returned. There were still quite a few this week.
Yeah. How are you feeling otherwise?
A bit hungover.
Yeah.
Shit about Spurs, which is far more important to me than FPL, as everyone knows.
Yeah.
And now, as I've said, I would be. He's looking over my shoulder and fighting for top 4. If it was 0% at the weekend winning the league, what percentage is it now?
Still 0.
It's still 0, right?
Yeah, less than 0. A few interesting things.
I'm worried.
A few interesting things yesterday that I thought, one particularly made me think about you. The new left back that started for us, Ben Johnson. ridiculous name,
famous
the
American sprinter, wasn't
yeah,
he?
Sure. 19 years old, making your debut away at City is probably just about the most mental thing you could do to a 19-year-old. Did you hear much about this young kid?
I'd never heard of him. Literally saw the team and went,
so,
who's that?
Why did I think about you when I heard about this young man? Who's his cousin?
Ben Johnson.
Who's his cousin?
Dwayne Johnson.
No, who's your favourite Spurs player of all time?
Of all time?
Yeah, well, okay, recent times. We talked about them the other
What,
day.
Ledley?
Ledley King. He's Ledley King's cousin.
No fucking way.
Yeah, and who's his uncle? Ex-Manchester United right back.
Paul Parker?
Paul Parker.
Nice.
There you go. So random football connections. They're not random, but there you
I
go.
was blatantly just trying to think of black Man United right backs. It's the
Paul
first
Parker,
one I could
there
think
you go.
of.
Paul Parker's his uncle and Ledley King's his cousin. So if that's anything to go by, this kid's going to be all right. And all in all, to come away with a 1-0 defeat with that, I think it's
It was a bit of a freak. It was only
they
1-0.
should have scored more. You're right. There you go. So yeah, Ben Johnson, welcome to West Ham. Nice to have him. I feel like there's a certain satisfaction in him being Ledley King's cousin that you would want him at Spurs because you all love Ledley so much and he's playing for us. So some joy in that. I don't know why, but there is.
I'm glad
there
that
we go.
I'm glad that you're pleased.
Of course. So I'm looking for the little pleasures in life right now.
Should we talk
Because
games?
I know as soon as we finish this podcast, Manchard's going to do the edit. He's going to listen to the intro and he's going to know that he's 19 points behind me only. Because he doesn't even know, right? If we called him in now, Manchard, he wouldn't know that he's 19 points behind me. Twitter poll upcoming. Will Manchard beat Suj this season?
That's your poll, not mine.
And you can help him as well. Go for it.
Well,
you can get all the help he needs.
He's doing fucking all right without us, so he doesn't need my help.
Oh,
Let that dead team continue by the sounds of it.
Indeed. Let's talk about some of the games, shall we?
Aye, get into it.
Should we start on Tuesday's games?
Yes.
I need to pull up all of the results.
We'll start with Leicester, I suppose.
Well, yeah, normally we go alphabetically, which would be Cardiff Everton.
All right, start with
Let's
Cardiff
do
Everton.
that. Cardiff home defeat. We spoke about this yesterday. You were saying that Planet FPL wife, he's the only person still owning Gylfi Sigurdsson.
Yeah, she's
but
got
his
him.
Ownership is not that bad, 5.7%. We could have him in the differential team.
No, we can't.
Oh, less than 5.
Yeah.
Sell by 10.
Yeah, as if we're looking at Everton players. I mean, we're still not doing that, are we?
135 points this season. He's priced at 7.2 million.
They weren't great, Everton.
No.
Just Cardiff are very, very poor. Sigurdsson took the goals very well.
But there's only 3 goals in his last 10 games. He's not being prolific necessarily at the moment, nor at Everton.
We're not looking at them, are we? We're not.
No.
In honesty, we can just jump this because we're not looking at Cardiff or Everton. The advice, probably more importantly, those on the chunky chips building to 31. I think you're probably that close now that if you've got Dean or Richarlison or Sigurdsson, or if you're Calvert-Lewin's knocking about, then you're possibly holding, which is dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think that's the right strategy because Liverpool away this weekend, so it's not exactly the easiest.
You'd leave them on the bench.
Liverpool
wouldn't
at
you?
home.
Depends on your squad status, but if you've got a good squad now, which I think for a lot of people is moving away from the sort of successes to make sure you've got players for that, you'd leave them out, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
The problem with the 31-33 of Everton, as we said so many times, Chelsea at home and Arsenal at home. Are you even that excited to keep them?
No.
I think Dean is an easier one to hold.
Oh, yeah, his price point is more around that 5 million mark.
Richarlison is just not happening.
I don't think his ownership is that high anymore. Most people that were on Richarlison are off now.
He's being dumped. There was quite a few I saw, and even myself, obviously I dumped him for Anderson before 27, and I was coming up to these fixtures and I'm thinking, I'm leaving Anderson out at Man City. Should I have fucking held on? I thought it'd be sod's law, he'll return as well, but
and he didn't.
He
so
didn't do shit all, mate.
There you go. Huddersfield 1, Wolves 0, which was a surprising result. I don't really care for that much. I like the fact that Huddersfield won. You know, I don't want to see them.
Best stat of the week. It's
I don't wanna see
Huddersfield's
them.
first win since the last beat Wolves.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. I love it.
I did see your tweet about that. The
So
first
fucking
time
Premier League.
that they've won since they beat Wolves, which was when?
it's like November, end of November or something.
So it's been a while, and a simple 1-0 win. Well, there's no Huddersfield players that have any kind of level of ownership, let's be honest, other than maybe Pritchard, but even he's just not going to be owned by anything
you're not looking at
close to double digits. But Wolves have higher ownership, whether it be Johnny or Doherty or even a couple of the other defenders.
The only person who's got
Jota,
Johnny is me.
Coutinho and Jimenez. There's ownership across the squad. So this was a bit of a annoying result.
Well, most people have got Doherty and Jimenez, haven't they?
Those are the two, and Jota's getting up there now.
I think in live teams, Jimenez is probably only behind Pogba for ownership in live teams. I think I saw. Major disappointment. I didn't even have a shot on target, mate.
Yeah. And Wolves have done that.
We highlighted this before they played.
On good runs and then suddenly they dip away.
Before they played Newcastle, we said like, oh look, the run's turning now. And we've said before they seem to struggle in these sort of fixtures, which is off-putting for the Cardiff game at the weekend. You wouldn't have said Newcastle at home, Bournemouth away, Huddersfield away, 2 points, which you would have expected returns here.
Yeah, is that classic Premier League cliche? Will they be able to do it in a cold night, Tuesday night in Huddersfield?
It ain't even cold at the moment, is it?
It was quite warm, but that was it, right? They brought a lot of players in, and it was a tough old game.
Yeah, no, credit to Huddersfield again. Not looking at Wolves are just want to say a few people have said to me in terms of like taking hits on 31. So my plan, the way I'm going at the moment is I've got Johnny, Jota and Jimenez.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. You're tripled up on Wolves now. You're carrying through?
But I'm looking to sell all three on 31. So the theory behind that is when I said on the last pod about taking hits on 31, because you'll get the appearances back, it only really works for sure if you're selling Wolves or Man United players. Mm-hmm. So I'm in a position now where I'm possibly taking Pogba and Rashford through for me because of the value.
Yep, same
possibly.
as me.
Definitely Pogba at least. So the three Wolves players are going to get binned. Because I haven't got the value in them like others have got in, say, Jimenez and Doherty, or that's different consideration for others. But if you sell Wolves or United on 31, knowing that they won't play in 33 if you're free hitting in 32, then you'll get the hits back just on the appearances, in theory. Obviously, that can go wrong. There can be one-pointers, etc. But it's certainly worth it, isn't it? Yeah. You just got to make sure they're guaranteed starters, really.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
Agree with you on that. So there we go. Let's move on then to Leicester. There were a few aggressive banners up at Celtic, anti-Rodgers. And we both did say on the last pod that we didn't think that Rodgers would just...
Quote me on the last pod, no way will Brendan Rodgers leave him before the end of the season, no way.
And literally fast.
It was like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Manchild loves the fussy fuss guy. Why you move so fast? You know the guy that
Who the fuck is
got
that?
hit by the guy on the bike. You can't see me. Why you drive so fast?
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers, it just happened fast. Why you move so fast, Rodgers? He's down into...
I can't believe that they're on the verge of a treble. I know he's done it all before already, but you would have thought he would have stayed to the end of the season,
There was a lot that, you've moved from legendary status to mediocrity and all these banners that were up there for Rodgers.
I guess he's looked at it and gone... For him, he was probably out of contention for a top six job, certainly. So, in terms of clubs that can challenge top six, you've got them. Wolves, that's not coming up. Yourselves, that's not coming up. Everton could come up, maybe.
Leicester, the thing that would appeal to me if I was looking at it from a manager's point of view is that they're a well-run club. Like the owners, the Thai owners are not. They're happy to invest in the club and the culture and the community around it. So that would be massively appealing. And generally, the managers have been given a reasonable amount of time. I would say they're not like the biggest, quickest sacking club. So I think it would be quite an appealing challenge. He will have been promised some money to spend, no doubt.
Reports this morning are a fuck ton is available in the summer.
Rebuilding.
It doesn't.
There are a few players that
they've
are...
They've got a lot of good young players.
True.
Barnes, Gray, Maddison, Chilwell.
But then your Wes Morgans of the world and stuff are a little bit not where they were. So
Maguire's still young.
3 or 4 additions max, I think. I don't think Vardy's going to keep going at the rate he has been.
The only thing I think we can say on Leicester is probably expect more goals in their games between now and the end of the season. Defensively is potentially going to be a problem because even that great Liverpool team in 2014 conceded a fuck ton. For a team that challenged for the title and nearly won it, they conceded way more goals than a team in that position should. So we can only really work off that. They'll be adventurous. They will try and play football the right way. But I don't think we know. There are so many unknowns. I think Maddison, as I said on the last pod, would be where I'd want to go from the attacking point of view. I think he had the equal most chances created for the game week again.
Are you considering Leicester now? Because I wasn't considering Leicester at all.
I don't think I'll be looking... I've got Pereira, and the way it's sitting for me at the moment is I'll probably literally just be playing him in 31 and 33. I regret that I went down that route.
I may go from Leroy Sané to Maddison at some point. It's not too far from my thoughts.
I think Maddison's a decent shot. And Vardy's getting lots of mentions.
Give me a couple of million as well, which I can use to upgrade the Isaac success, or even maybe Josh King to someone who's in that 8.5, maybe Jamie Vardy. But then I don't want to double up.
Every positive tweet I saw Tuesday night seemed to have Jamie Vardy mentioned in it. It's interesting that he's quite highly priced, really, Vardy.
Yeah,
for a club
8.6,
that's playing for
8.7.
outside the top 6.
Yeah, his points per pound ratio.
And yet, when he scores one, and he does normally only score ones,
yeah,
it feels like celebratory. I've got him, he returned.
He picked up BPS as well.
Yes, it just about. It was the fact he got the winning goal just brought him into it. He got booked again, otherwise he was potentially looking at a 5, and it didn't look that great. So, for me, it's too expensive.
He is a bit pricey, and that's why Maddison just offers you better value, right?
I think so.
Newcastle 2, Burnley 0. I didn't see this result come. Well, I wouldn't say I didn't see this result coming. I was saying on the last episode how Newcastle had picked up 10 points from 15 and were on a steady run. This was going to be a good test for them. And 2 things came out of it. They kept a clean sheet. Again. And they scored 2 goals. And the goals and assists were just like... If you'd have said to me, Newcastle scored and won 2-0... named the top 5 players that probably scored or assisted, I wouldn't have gone with any of these.
You wouldn't have.
So it was. We did talk about Hayden and Longstaff and stuff in the last show. I still think if I'm going to go to Newcastle, it would be Lascelles, but I'm not.
Longstaff was very good. I think supports what I said on the last pod, that I think he's quite safe in the team at the moment. Obviously, quite a few have gone for Fabian Schär, certainly in the Twitter community. We've of course advised against because these 8 yellows hanging.
Yeah.
But what a goal. And you'd be over the moon with that, wouldn't you? So
you've got to be happy. As a Newcastle fan, a Geordie, you've got to be happy with the job that Benitez is doing with the squad that he has.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if we're playing them on Saturday 5:30 kickoff. Quite looking forward to the game. But some of their players, you know, when players come on in a sub on and you're like, who are you? I don't know nothing about them.
Yeah, surefire you're getting beat this weekend now, mate.
But they're doing well. They're doing well with not a name of not a squad of household names.
I've got finally as well in the last few weeks a very settled team. They're obviously now playing regularly with this back 5. The only change he made was Manquillo for Yedlin.
Yeah.
Leyoun and Schär both come out with the ball and are good footballers, and it allows Lascelles to be the aggressor in between the front 3. The 2 in midfielder you mentioned are playing well at the moment. Almiron's given them a bit of sparkle now.
Yeah.
And they're doing all right.
Performance? I didn't see the highlights.
Yeah, okay, lively enough. He's not someone that
he's
not someone that currently interests me for fantasy.
Yeah.
To be honest, I just look at it and go, right, yeah, he could have scored against Huddersfield at the weekend, but he has just played Huddersfield at home and Burnley at home, and however you look at it, he's blanked in both. Yeah. So it's not on my radar. We brought a Jose Perez into the differential team.
Yeah.
As a punt after what we said in the last pod. Felt like the game circled on. A lot of the chatter pre the game was a lot of people were deciding whether to go to Rondon or Barnes.
Right.
Well, it didn't make no fucking difference, did it?
No. It didn't.
Burnley were poor. The only thing to say on them, again, so much of Sean Dyche's good work in the last 18 months has been on a settled team as well. And Ashley Westwood missed out through illness, and it just knocked something from him in the centre of the pitch. McNeil, who played really well against us, got hauled off at half-time, didn't play well. Wood and Barnes were completely ineffective.
with the Sean Dyche managed team, you wouldn't expect them to do that twice in a row. I still think Burnley are not a bad shout because they are available in that. Historically, if you look back at it, you could just put it down to same as Wolves, a bad day at the office this time round, which makes it even more surprising that the game week average was 53 points.
You keep going on about that average,
I'm just
mate.
irritated, to be honest with you. Arsenal 5, Bournemouth 1. Arsenal, when they play attacking midfielders, and in this case it was Ozil and Mkhitaryan, as opposed to Ramsey and Mickey last time round, create chances and score goals.
Mad stat I saw this morning. Ozil's now got 4 goals this season. You know how many shots on target he's had this season?
4?
Yeah. That's mad, though, isn't it?
Yeah, ridiculous. But then there's a period where Aubameyang had scored from like 10 in a row or something like that, wasn't there? 10 shots on target, 10 goals. So Arsenal are pretty... They only like to shoot when it's an open goal or they're right up by the 6-yard line, really. Ticky-tacky all the way.
Unless it's Xhaka, he just shoots from anywhere.
Whack it. Whacker.
Yeah, strong performance from Arsenal. Bournemouth are in a bad spot at the moment because they've got injuries, and then suddenly, from being a very positive attacking side, they look a bit thin in terms of squad depth.
I think, my opinion on Bournemouth is that they're just patchy now. They can't dominate a game. They'll have their moments.
Brooks, importantly, was on the bench.
Yeah, they still will score goals, but it's not as consistent. And I mean, looking back at the Wolves game, the two they scored once, but they had penalties. It was potentially penalties where their goals were coming from set pieces. It's not free flowing open football.
City for Bournemouth at the weekend. If you've got Raheem Sterling, I think that's a massive tempter for captain.
Really?
Having not started last
I
night.
might leave the armband on Leroy Sané. That guy's got.
He's not going to play, blood.
He's got to return for me sometime, man.
Just get over it and sell him, mate.
Like Leroy, come on.
Get over it. On Arsenal, it would be interesting.
Feel the love that I'm giving you by keeping you in
No
my
one's
team.
feeling it, mate. You're just doing a service for the community, making them laugh. On Arsenal, it would be interesting to see how they shape up at Wembley on Saturday lunchtime. Whether my instinct is that, as it would stand now, he probably plays Aubameyang off the left, Mkhitaryan off the right, with Lacazette through the middle. I'm not sure if he'll go with the only way he'll get the two of them essentially is obviously if he plays a diamond, in which case I think he could well play Ramsey in the sort of 10 role and sit with 3 sitting midfield players. It's a big fucking game, mate.
Oh.
It's the game for me.
Two defeats on the bounce for you guys, and then Arsenal at home. I mean,
Yay.
It's
It's not even at home, mate.
Well, yeah, yeah. So it's probably not going to be the best weather. Wet game, raining.
I hope it's
conditions are gonna
pissing
be
down,
awful,
wet. Yeah, I hope it's all that.
Or it's not going to be.
I don't want sun shining and
not
no.
fair
I want
weather.
thunderstorms. Bring it on. Yeah, the worse the weather, the better.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. What was next on the fixture list?
Probably my
yesterday?
fucking team.
Closely. Well, not really because it does it based on time. So Southampton's 2-0 win at home to Fulham. Fulham, see you later. We've been saying it every week.
Rumours going around this morning that Ranieri's about to be sacked.
Yeah, but you can't do that. Although the
Fulham supporters don't like him, mate. They're not happy.
There's no fight in that Fulham team. I didn't feel it against West Ham. I said it on the last show. I felt they were quite easy to defend against. They weren't very aggressive or in your face or didn't cause us many problems. They did have the odd chance anyone's going to in a game of football, but it was felt very comfortable.
For Southampton.
No, the West Ham game. So there's no
yeah.
surprise then that Southampton went on a clean sheet.
And I think it was pretty comfortable for Southampton
Yeah.
as well last night.
They scored a couple of goals.
Fulham just can't be
Get in there,
they can't be
Ward-Prowse.
considered at the moment. And if you've got assets against them, then your players are going to score goals. And I think one of the big debates at the moment is whether to go double defensive Liverpool, or do you sort of add a Mane to Salah if you're building to 31?
Yeah.
And I think all logic says go 2 defensively, but you keep thinking, fucking hell, if they're going to play Fulham.
In 31.
But then it goes both ways, right? You could easily see Liverpool keeping a clean sheet, but then they could easily go to Craven Cottage. If they score early, they could get anything.
Yeah.
So that's a balancing act.
James Ward-Prowse,
Scored
5.1
again.
million. He's still only 2.1% ownership. He had 3 blanks in a row, so to get a return is pretty decent.
And United away next.
Yeah, their fixtures aren't great, but they do have something to... United away, followed by your lot.
If they can just hang in there at the moment, Southampton, and try and keep their head above Cardiff, then they'll stay up. Once they turn from sort of 34 to the end is a decent run in for them.
Yeah, I do want to buy James Ward-Prowse, but I'd take him ahead of Brooks, but...
He
with
ain't
their
playing in
fixtures,
31.
He ain't playing in 31, and their fixtures up until 33 are not nice. So I may consider... I'll see what I need to see what the league table is like at game week 34. If Southampton still have a lot to fight for, then I may consider bringing him in.
They might actually really be one to look for at the run-in if you're looking for sort of 35 bench boosts and stuff, because the run-in's okay. We think the Watford fixture, as we said on the last pod, is probably more likely to go into 35. But at the moment, there's no way of knowing.
No. Tell me about Chelsea 2, Spurs 0.
I have to.
Well, the listeners want to know.
I feel like I said
opinion on it.
exactly that on Saturday. It's the first time we haven't had a shot on target under Pochettino in the league.
Wow.
Bad times, though.
With
It
Kane
didn't quite
playing,
feel
Son
like that in the
playing,
game.
Eriksen.
It was tactical setup was interesting. So we started with a 4-2-3-1 for the first 20 minutes, and then switched it to a diamond with Lamella behind. Son went back central from starting in a wide left position. And I felt half-time came at a really bad time for us, because I felt the 10 minutes before half-time, Chelsea was starting to tire, and I felt we were getting on top. And I really thought at half-time we were going to go on and win the game. Perhaps it's just blind faith, I don't know. And then second half didn't start great, and the Pedro goal was just fucking awful. Alderweireld, who probably up until the goal would probably been the best player on the pitch, I don't know how he's let Pedro get inside him so easy like that. And the second goal is just it's fucking laughable, isn't it? You'll see that over and over again for you. I take it you have seen it.
No.
You haven't seen the
I
own
didn't see
goal.
the highlight as yours, no.
Oh my lord.
Tell me about it. Go on.
No.
Give me the commentary of what happened.
Okay, so the ball was played over the top. Trippier's going to pass it back to Loris. Loris comes running out like a fucking lunatic, and Trippier just passes it past him.
I can just picture it.
It is a classic. There's no getting away from it. You will see it 1,000 times over in years to come. It is a golden own goal, if you will.
Just so that the listeners get the full picture, what colour kit was Lloris wearing?
Bright orange, pal.
And Trippier?
White.
Okay, and what did that make the final score?
2-0.
Oh, the pain. Difficult for Spurs. I mean, Harry Kane's now picked up 5 bookings as well, but I think a couple of those would have been...
There is an incident from last
expunged.
night. I don't know if it'll get looked at, but he certainly lent his head into Azpilicueta. There's only one angle of
trying to
it,
give him a kiss.
and you can't see if there's any physical contact. But I wouldn't be massively surprised if he was looking at a ban.
Really?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think it's inconclusive, and therefore he'll probably get away with it. But it wouldn't surprise me either.
Harry Kane is a differential right now.
Yes,
in the
he
game.
is.
And so people who are looking for differentials will want to know your opinion on him. Any closer to wanting to get him, or do you still think it's just wait and see after 32?
I think it's wait. I think it's wait, because obviously there's good fixtures for most of the big clubs this weekend. Obviously Spurs play Arsenal. Southampton away in 30 is probably actually, because their run is so bad at the moment, it's probably the sort of game Southampton looked at and gone, we'd want something from this. And everybody else's fixtures in game week 30, as I said before, if you want a bench boost in a single game week, it might be that week. So I would say no on Kane at the moment. Plus, you don't know the status on if we might double in 32 or not. Don't even know, excuse me, I don't even know where our next home game is going to be.
Okay.
So, no, avoid Spurs at the moment. On Chelsea, I've seen a few who are asking best Chelsea investment. I think definitely defensively, David Luiz is creating from that position as well at the moment. Still a good price. And I think on 31, Pedro could be a real possibility into thoughts if you want some midfield coverage and a budget alternative to Hazard. And I think the problem with Pedro is essentially it's him or Willian. And you don't want to be in a position where, I've said already about if you're planning for 31, you want the guaranteed players essentially that are going to play. Now, Chelsea play in Europe 3 days before 31. Now, if Willian plays in that, then you probably look good to take a gamble on Pedro. If it's the other way round, I wouldn't take the gamble on Willian.
They are still rotating that front three quite a lot.
Pedro suits Sarri's style formation so much better. I've said all season long that if I knew Pedro was going to play every week, I'd shove him in the team because I think his returns are okay and his price is great. So Pedro could come into my thoughts, but he's very dependent on who plays for them 3 days before they play in 31.
How did you feel seeing Willy Caballero in goal?
I felt positive about it because I know he's an inferior keeper to Kepa, but he didn't have a save to make, did he?
No, it's very surprising. I still don't feel like I understand what has happened with this Kepa situation. Do you?
I wouldn't be surprised if Kepa's back in the team at the weekend. But then Caballero doesn't deserve to lose the shirt now.
No, he doesn't. I don't know. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, isn't there? Because he being Sarri was properly pissed off when Kepa didn't come off. You see him storming around, then comes out and says it's all dealt with. It was a misunderstanding. But then Kepa's been fined, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was fined, and then he's been dropped. But Sarri's saying it's all dealt with and it's fine. So there's the public, what's going on in public, but the reality of what's happening in terms of the fine and being dropped and stuff. I don't know, man. But they drew 0-0 for all intents and purposes with City, and then they come and beat you guys. So it's a tale. It's two tales with Chelsea.
Yeah, once they went in front yesterday, they kind of sat in and played similarly to how they did against City and sat in. And from there, we never looked like we were going to score at any point.
No. Let's talk about Manchester United. 3-1 winners at Palace.
It's a good result.
It really is. Really is.
Considering the circumstances of the injuries, I think they can be very pleased with that. Selhurst Park is not easy at any time.
They were talking about this on the radio when I was listening yesterday. This is a depleted Manchester United squad. The top six clubs have such strength and depth. I understand that you haven't got Lingard and whoever else playing, but they've got enough firepower. I mean, Lukaku up front, Sanchez on the bench. Come on, man. They got the strength and depth. So depleted. I do understand it's not full strength, but they had more than enough to beat Palace. And did.
No sympathy, mate.
So, yeah.
My team's had a run of that last month through the injuries and that. So everybody who goes through it at one stage or another, invariably. Lukaku took the goals really well, by the way. The key point that I took out of the game, doing a little bit of research into it this morning, is Pogba normally plays left of the midfield three.
Yeah.
He played on the right yesterday. And in terms of attacking returns, I think that diminishes his prospect. He likes to have the ball from the left where he can face and see the whole picture. Whereas from the right, it's just not quite as natural for him. And if that's how they're potentially going to line up again on Saturday with Fred to the left and McTominay sitting, that would really put me off the idea of captaining Pogba. And Pogba is definitely a captainable player this weekend at home to Southampton.
I fancy captaining Rashford potentially this weekend at home to Southampton.
The concern is the fitness. You assume that he look, if he was fit enough to travel, he came on and played the 13 minutes. You would assume that Rashford starts at the weekend. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable. I don't know if I feel comfortable captaining him. I think if I had to captain Pogba or Rashford this weekend, I would go with Pogba. But that him playing to the right concerns me a little bit. And obviously, I haven't seen a lot of the game from last night.
Concerns you to the extent that, I mean, he still picked up a return, didn't he?
Yes.
At the end of the day. So Pogba is Pogba.
Yes.
He most certainly is. Liverpool 5, Watford 0. Watford coming off the back of some decent results in a 5-1 at Cardiff or whatever it was, 5-0, 5-1. And then just
got battered.
Get their asses handed to them on a plate. I mean, Liverpool are just class. And they didn't have Firmino, so Origi came in and was
got a good goal.
The first couple went in. I was listening on the radio, and both to Mane, I was mildly disappointed that Salah wasn't there on the score sheet. And 5-0 at home, no returns for Mo Salah.
You can't believe that.
What the fuck?
You can't believe that. 5-0 last season and he had 5 returns. 5-0 this season, no returns. You can't believe. I mean, when I saw afterwards, I was obviously fully focused on Spurs, but when I saw afterwards 5-0 and he had no returns, I assumed they'd probably taken him off early in the night, played the full 90. There's a lot of talk this morning about, obviously, his returns recently have not been great against his value. And a lot of talk is obviously, look, if you're going to have him, can you not captain him? I have no intention of captaining him at Everton this weekend because I just think it's the sort of fixture that we've mentioned it before about the no returns in the games against the top six, and Everton as well, wasn't it?
It's a tough one.
In terms of its importance of a fixture, it is kind of like a top six fixture in that way. Despite how shit Everton are at the moment, they will give life and limb at the weekend, won't they, against Liverpool?
100%, yeah.
So, no, I wouldn't captain Salah. But then I do look afterwards and go, yeah, Burnley at home, captain. Fulham away, captain.
Yep.
So I will be holding, but I can understand why people are getting a little bit itchy about it. I'd look at it more from the point of view and go, look, they scored 5 last night. What was seriously the chance of him not returning? Yeah, he did it at the post.
Very slim.
He did it at the post in the game. There was other moments where we'd created stuff. Foster made one good save from him at the near post. So I'm not overly concerned from that point of view. I think I'm in a position where I've got a hold. I think so. If I come off him, where am I going to? Mane, Hazard. I'm
Sterling.
not sure.
You don't like
not at
City
this stage
all.
now. Planning to. I wouldn't be bringing. For me on my plan, I'm not bringing anyone in now that's not playing in 31 now.
No, you've made your.
There's
move
three.
for that.
There's 3 weeks to go. It's 29, 30, 31 with there. So at this stage, no, I'm definitely not bringing anyone else in now that's not playing in 31.
Sadio Mane for me is the story of my season to a certain degree.
Yes.
I'm trying to get my head around why the season has been a little bit flat, or I haven't made the moves that I wanted to. Haven't had the returns that I
Because
wanted
you've had Sadio Mane at all the wrong times.
Yeah, well, it's not just Sadio Mane, but my season's been very consistent, somewhere between 45 and 55 points week in, week out. I've just not broken the 60, 70 point barriers enough. And I've basically kept a lot of premium assets for too long when they haven't been returning. Alonso has sat in my side for a lot of weeks. Sadio Mane sat in my side for a lot of weeks when he hadn't returned. Leroy Sané sat in my side for a lot of weeks when he hadn't returned.
You're still holding Leroy Sané, aren't you?
Yeah, I am at the moment.
You're a
I
fucking
still
plum.
have Alonso. So generally, I just think, yeah, maybe moving on some of these premium assets might have been a better strategy. And also, Mane and Sané particularly, they don't fall into the top tier of Hazard, Sterling, Salah price brackets. They're that level below.
They're like the B celebs, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. And so whether or not I've over-egged them in my mind, and I might have been better off with Sané being a cheaper 6 or 7 million rated player, maybe Fraser or whoever else, and upgraded one of my strikers to a premium or something. It's tricky. I'm going to be spending some time thinking about it, but I feel like the problem I've had this season is summed up by Mane. I've held players for too long when they haven't returned. And you sell them and they fucking go and return.
There was a lot of jokes ahead of, was it 25 to double City? About the triple captain and all that, yeah. And they said, you've got... Suj, please sell Leroy Sané, please.
What, now?
Just please sell him, yeah.
Why?
But he's not going to play at the weekend, mate.
Yeah, but then I'll just bench him, whatever. I've got.
Can't bench someone with that value when you can go and replace him with,
Sadio Mane.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah, or Bernardo Silva, whatever. Can you get up to Sterling?
No, without taking a hit. No, I'd have to downgrade someone else somewhere.
I can't. If you look at City, it's obviously played Bournemouth this weekend. It's Watford at home the week after, and then Champions League. They've obviously got a free midweek. You do feel like they'll go with his best team in both, wouldn't they? Surely.
Yeah. We'll wait and see. There's every chance that Sané plays again this weekend. Although Mendy was supposed to be having a late fitness test yesterday, we don't know.
From everything that we've been told, look, this Pep rotation.
And we moved on. We'll get
fucked so much, but surely at the moment it looks like it'll be Sterling and Bernardo.
I don't want to say surely anything. Surely.
All right, keep Sané.
If I was to swap Leroy Sané for another City player right now, it would be David Silva.
Really?
Yeah, I think David Silva. I prefer David Silva to Bernardo.
I'm not keen on either at the moment. I wouldn't be keen on either of them or De Bruyne.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though Bernardo's playing every week at the moment, it's not returning, right?
We'll just go to James Maddison at this point, right? That gives me a lot of money to make a move elsewhere.
Yeah. Possibly. Might allow you to throw Hazard in for 31. I don't even know. Is that your strategy?
My Higuain was or Jamie Vardy, to be honest. But
So you are going chunky chips.
I'm going chunky chips.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to. If I'm moving away from Leroy Sané, I'd like to move to a player who is available in 31, and sideways move to City doesn't really allow me to do that. I don't have any value tied up in Leroy Sané. I bought him at 9.3 million, and he's 9.4.
You've got three Liverpool, right?
Trent,
Robertson,
Mohamed
and
Salah.
Salah. So Mane's off the table.
Yes.
So then you are
unless
looking
I downgrade Salah to
you are looking at
take
probably
Sané to
Maddison, or you've got Anderson, haven't you?
Got Felipe.
Sorry, Sané's got to go, mate. I'm afraid. Don't hate me if he returns at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good debate. This is the time of season where it's time to think about what worked and what didn't work. And it's been a very, very painful season this season. Let's just wrap up on City, West Ham. I mean, 1-0 doesn't really reflect the game.
You should have won by a lot
at all. And it just is what it is. Aguero. He's started the last 6.
Yeah.
Scored a ton of goals.
He's the one that I'd be a little worried about for rotation at the weekend.
You think he'll get dropped?
I think that's...
Jesus hasn't been fully fit,
No,
though.
it just depends. With Aguero, I think he's clearly weighing ahead of Jesus now. And I just look at it and go, he's played last night, 120 minutes Sunday. We know that notoriously he does break down every now and again. And I think really it should be in Pep's mind to protect him a little bit, I think.
You're basically trying to get in Pep's head there and say, drop Aguero, because all the Aguero
Because I don't fucking own him.
are going to screw us over at the weekend again.
I do think there's a chance that I would think Aguero is most likely to play this weekend. I think he is potentially a dodgy captain choice, though. I think that's a risk this weekend.
Be interesting to see. For the watchers on YouTube, Matt Child's been doing his symbols, but
Matt Child has learned how to read the time.
Has he? Because his his symbols last time were useless. But that's a 5, and that's a 0. So we've been talking for 50 minutes. Twitter questions for the last 10. Talk to me about what you're going to do for this game week coming up.
I think I'm probably to hit Alexander-Arnold and Higuain in for Trippier and success. If people are wondering, I've got about 5 million sitting in the bank at the moment.
Chilling.
Yeah.
James is investing. He's looking for property deals. He's looking for anything to stick his 5 million into.
It is a little dependent on team news, though. The one reluctant, like I said, is it means I'm leaving Wolves assets this weekend if I go down that route. Because I'm not getting Alexander-Arnold in and not playing him. No way.
Away at Everton.
And it would mean, yes, it would mean double defence. That doesn't worry me too much. It would mean, like I said, leaving Johnny and Hotter out this weekend, which feels mad at home to Cardiff. So I might even look at a route where maybe I would get, say, Brooks in now and maybe leave him out. It's an easier one to leave out. And then I'm very confident now that he's going to be fit for 31, having been sub at Arsenal last night. But it does mean that I obviously wouldn't use him in 29. And it does put all the pressure of the hit onto Higuain. But going that route then does allow me a little bit more time to decide if perhaps I want to go Mane or Alexander-Arnold, for example.
I've got my team set up for the weekend as it is without any moves, with Fabianski in goal, Newcastle at home. My back four, I've got Robbo and Alexander-Arnold playing away at Everton, which is fine. Southampton at home for Luke Shaw, that's okay. And Fulham away for Marcus Alonso, also manageable. Felipe Anderson, Newcastle at home. Game's on TV. He might perk up a little bit this time round. Son, tricky game. Yeah. Derby's always a tricky game. Pogba at home to Southampton. Salah away at Everton. European. I've got Leroy Sané, Bournemouth away. Bournemouth just let in 5 goals. But the question with Sané is not can he return. The question is will he play. And then Rashford up front with the armband on at home to Southampton. Josh King is my first sub, but then they're playing City, so
it's gone through. Let's just say I went through the route of Higuain and Alexander-Arnold. I'd be Fabianski in goal. I'd be Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, David Luiz, which all away, but okay fixtures is fine. And then I'd be going Salah, Pogba, Son, Anderson, front three of Jimenez, Rashford, Higuain. Looks really strong. It has gone through my mind to leave Salah out this weekend. It's gone through my mind. And it's a question: do I think Salah will return more than Hotter? It's insane. It's gone through my mind. I think Hotter, I feel like, having owned him a bit, it's just not done it for me. And I think that would be such a gamble to leave Salah out, and the chance I would blow in my face. But if he returns massive and I'm not going to captain him, it's going to hurt me a bit anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe take the whole chance. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. It crossed your mind, and then you slowly nodded.
I don't know who else could I leave out of that front seven? Anderson at home to Newcastle.
I had Anderson on the bench and Josh King playing at one point, but no. Josh King obviously got City, so forget that.
I think of that seven, I'd have to leave out Hotter, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hotter is definitely the one. Should we do a couple of Twitter questions? We
Yeah.
said we put a tweet out. You put a tweet out.
Oh, it's only ever, mate.
We are one, mate.
Yeah, all right.
We are one. And 40-something people.
So basically, I sent a tweet out and said, send in some questions that we won't cover.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have time. And still shitloads.
Yeah, well, we've only got a few minutes because we're going to keep this one to under an hour. Again, we've only got 2 days until the turnaround, and people want to listen to us, but they also want to listen to anything else and videos and YouTube and all the
I
rest
will try and respond to everybody like I normally try. I realised for not the last pod, the one before.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the time. And part of the reason was I didn't even make my own transfers till 5 minutes before the deadline, so I didn't know what I was doing.
Nah. Well, Legamane _FPL. I remember the good old days when you covered every question. Those were the good old days when we had 100 listeners asking us for Twitter.
Well, yeah, that helped, yeah. It was only 5 questions.
Here's mine anyway, so we're covering yours and no one else matters. Legamane, it's all about you. Do you think watching a Poch team has increased your tactical knowledge and observation skills due to the variety of tactical approaches he employs compared to other managers? It's a bit of a...
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Kind of question.
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it definitely has, because you can get in routines we've had managers in the past, and you knew under Redknapp it was nearly always going to be 4-4-1-1 when we had Van der Vaart, for example. He never moved from that. Pochettino from games, I have no idea if he'll play 3 at the back or 4 at the back at the weekend. Not a clue. And from there, I don't know if it will be a diamond or with wingers. Spurs vary so much, and one of the things that really came about during the 15-16 season, what year are we in now? Sorry, 16-17 season, when we put the pressure on Chelsea, was in the second half of the season how much we changed formations during game. When he first came in, he was very 4-2-3-1. It never changed, and then in season 2 and 3, that really, really did change, especially in season 3, 16-17, to changing formation 4 or 5 times in a game. He did it last night. He played 4-2. If you're looking, it's always a dangerous one with Spurs. If you're trying to look at data from, say, average positions, I don't know, fuck what Son's average position would have been last night, because he played as a left winger in the first 20 minutes and then played up front, and he had a spell on the right in the second half as well. So, careful with average positions when you're looking at Spurs. But in terms of tactically, I always sit high at the games to give me, I like a perspective of the game. Admittedly, I've got row 3 at St Mary's and game week 30, so I'll be on match of the day if we score. I need Sol Bamba jumped in the crowd.
Yeah.
And he smashed the guy's glasses. Yeah, let's have some of that. Get me on match of the day, game week 30.
Yeah.
I like to sit high because I like a tactical perspective of the game.
Let's move on to another question. At Claret FPL, Jimmy Mac and Cheese. He says, is Anderson worth the extra cash over Antonio? Antonio is currently 6.8 and Anderson is 7.2. Over the course of the season, Anderson scored shitloads more points than Antonio has, but he's played more minutes. He has played more minutes, but right here, right now, is he worth the extra cash? And there is an argument to be said to go to Antonio at 6.8. If Antonio was somewhere between 6 and 6.5, I would have him in my squad. He's about $500,000 more than where I would want him to be for the returns that he gets. However, the reason I think Antonio's interesting as a consideration is when we play with one up front, whether it be Chicharito or Arnautovic, Antonio's quite good at holding the ball up. So I think that our manager likes having him there as a second bulldozer or someone to hold the ball up or hoof it to and keep the ball. So I think Antonio's likely to start all of the games moving forward. He's been starting games, so I think Antonio's not a bad shout at 6, but he's about $500,000 more than I would like him to be.
We're getting him in the differential team, mate.
Yeah?
Yep, it's happening.
Yeah, I love Mikel Antonio.
You lying sack of shit.
No, from 2 years ago, I love him, but his injuries, he's never got back to where he was. But more recently, I've seen him back to where he is, and his attributes are strength and pace. Those are the two things that he always had: strength and pace. He's never been blessed with massive amounts of control, and his finishing is not about deft touches and little chips. It's hit the ball as hard as a flipping can and it'll go in. And he's been getting back to that where he's been like whacking it down the touchline and pegging after it and stuff.
Regular listeners know that you are a turncoat, mate, because you have slagged him off so many times.
I've slagged him off because he's been playing shit.
And now he's playing well.
He's playing better.
Right.
I've got no issue with him personally because I loved him from a couple of seasons ago when we first got him from Forest because of his strength and pace. But he wasn't playing with pace and he wasn't holding the ball up very well. He was losing the ball a lot. That's why I wasn't a fan. I think that the thing with Antonio is just taking him a while to come back from these injuries. That's what you got to put it down to.
I think he's a decent shout. Quick question: Newcastle at home, Cardiff away, Huddersfield at home. How many West Ham points?
For FPL
for West Ham
or for West Ham?
For West Ham.
Newcastle at home, and then we've got
Cardiff away, Huddersfield at home.
I'd want 7, 2 wins and a draw.
2.
2, you think?
2.
2 points. What are we betting on here?
A coffee.
A coffee.
It's all I can afford.
It's going to be a fucking one of those biggest size coffees that you can get in Starbucks.
Yeah, all right.
With whipped cream and caramel.
Cool.
And
I'll just go and buy it now. West Ham should be taking 9 points from those 3 games.
The one that I'm most worried about is Newcastle at home.
Yeah, I think that's a little dodge the weekend.
Let's do one more Twitter question, and then maybe what we'll do is if we get some time, we'll record a few other Twitter questions. We've got Tommy _Gonzo's asking thoughts on Pedro, a good route into the Chelsea attack. Well, we did answer
Mentioned
that.
it.
So link back, rewind, and you'll be able to listen to that. More of a footy one than an FPL one. Go on then, we'll end on that. As we stand, only the top 6 have a positive goal difference. Is the rest of the league getting shitter?
He's asked that.
And that's coming in from Sean McCall, at Sean_McCall.
I actually think the opposite.
You think the rest of the league's getting better?
No, I just think if you take, say, Spurs' squad now, there are plenty of league seasons 10, 20 years ago we'd have won the league.
Yeah.
I just think the top 6 have progressed so much better. I think if you look at, say, a Wolves now or even yourselves, I think 10, 15 years ago, you'd have been right knocking on top 4's door.
Yeah.
I actually think, bar the bottom 3 at the moment, I think actually the quality of the league is getting better. I just think there's so much on for those clubs to know. It's so difficult to get a result against the top 6 that the priorities quite often go into the other games. But I think, generally the standard's okay. If you look at like the talent at Leicester and stuff, they could be a very good side. So could Wolves.
Yeah.
It would help if like Wolves
I
can
think the quality,
not lose twice
you.
to Huddersfield in a season.
I'm with you that the rest of the standard across the league is definitely much better.
It's just the top 6 have got so much better.
Yeah, and so the competitive nature of what happens from 7th position below, once you're clear of relegation to a certain extent, becomes a dead season. Like, what are you playing for at this point? So I think that's where the cups become much more interesting and much more important.
Would help if they took the cup seriously.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, one more question.
Go on then.
Because regular listeners will know we used to get Ron Weasley's question of the day.
Has he got one?
He sent this to me a week ago because I was like, Weasley, where's the question of the day been? Because he's been a busy guy, and he sent it last week, and it's still relevant. And it's even more relevant.
I haven't seen this.
Earlier. No, you have not. And I'm going to get rid of option 5 on this because I don't think it's relevant. But Ron Weasley's question of the day. After witnessing Chelsea's 6-0 embarrassment at the weekends, this is obviously after the league game against City. Which of these humiliating scenarios would you prefer not to happen?
Oh, God.
Yeah, the first is getting caught wanking by the neighbour. The second one is finishing below man-child in FPL. Diarrhea in a packed lift. Or your boss finding porno on your laptop. Option 5 was be born a Spurs fan, but I'm going to...
Oh, yeah. Christ. That's a fucking predicament, isn't it? Getting caught watching porn is not a good way to go because that's job as well. Neighbour. It depends who your neighbour is, right? That's quite important.
It's funny that... But
to be honest, if my neighbour caught me wanking, I don't think I'd give a shit.
Who's my neighbour? Yeah, I'm like, neighbour.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, forget the neighbour. Neighbours, that's out of...
And what's shitting in the lift?
Get diarrhea.
That's rough.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
I've got no issue with neighbour catching me or shitting in a lift or porn on my laptop. I am not finishing below that fucking man-child in FPL. Forget about it. If I finish below man-child in FPL this season, he will be the host of the show next year.
Wow. Is that confirmed?
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about football.
This might be the end of the podcast.
He'll last about 10 minutes, but there you go.
Right. We'll get him, episode 1, series 3, we'll get him in the chair if he beats you. Don't let that happen, mate.
It's unlikely to, but let's see. It's 19 points is nothing, less than a point per game.
You can't let that happen.
Oh, man-child's coming for me. One final thing to end the show on is, obviously, we mentioned it a few pods ago. I'm running the marathon in now 8 weeks to 9 weeks. It's the 28th of April, London Marathon. My training's going all right. I'm up to 18, 19 kilometres. Get a half marathon in this weekend, even though it's supposed to be raining. I put a link out for people to sponsor me. It's on havenhouse.com/fundraiser/Suj, but we'll tweet it, so don't worry about writing it down. And to the people that sponsor me already, who I will give a shout out on the next show, and will be getting a nice email from me. I'm blown away by the generosity of people that just listen to the show and randomly feel like they want to donate to the cause. The hospice is a really worthy cause. They specialise in caring for families with children who are terminally ill or life-threatening, limiting illnesses. And the important thing to remember is I was going to run the marathon anyway. I'm running the marathon because I've got a big ego and I want the medal and the glory and everything that goes with it, and people shouting my name as I'm running down the street. So don't sponsor me because you feel like I'm doing a great thing running the marathon. I'm going to do it anyway because I want the glory. Do it because you're helping Haven House Children's Hospice, which is well worth it. And every time I get an email through that says so-and-so is sponsoring you, I'm like, just a listener who I've never even met. I'm blown away by the community. So thank you if you are one of those people. You will be getting an email from me and you will be getting a shout out on the next show. And we will be linking in the link and tweeting it out. So if you do feel like, you know what, even a couple of quid, it's all going to the hospice. It's not going to our beer fund, which is non-existent at the moment. I would really appreciate it. And thank you very much. We do get people asking us for Patreon and all that kind of stuff, which we don't do. We do it for the love of it for now.
Yeah, well, we ain't loving anything at the moment, but very well said, sir.
Yeah,
very
so
well
thank
said.
you. If you can help, I'd appreciate it. And every quid's worth a quid, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Don't ask me anything else because fuck all else. I don't really.
Yeah, I
care.
might jump on the
I'm
old
going to tear it up. I'm going to
Twitter.
tear it up this weekend.
Yeah, let's do
Going
it.
to tear it up.
It's time for the comeback. 10 game weeks to go. Let's do it.
I'm hitting 90 plus this week.
Oh, James has put his nailed his flag
Let's have it.
to the mast. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. Do share the podcast with all your FPL playing friends, family, and anyone else you may know that does play FPL. We appreciate all of the listens and reviews on iTunes, SoundCloud, etc., which we're very grateful for. Other than that, it leaves me just to say good luck with Game Week 29 and ciao for now.
Cue music, Matt Child.
The Fantasy Football Show.